Have you ever been awake when the rest of the world is asleep? When the house is so quiet you can hear your own heartbeat, soft, steady drum in the deep, dark stillness. Have you ever peed through your window when the moon is high and bright? A perfect silver coin in a velvet sky, casting a shining path across the water. On a night just like this, a night full of quiet magic, a curious child named Leo, who couldn't sleep, saw a soft, glowing light dancing by the riverbank. His eyes, wide with wonder, followed the gentle, pulsing glow as it beckoned from the world outside. A world that was supposed to be dreaming. But Leo wasn't dreaming. He was wide awake, and a quiet adventure was calling his name. The light wasn't like a flickering candle, and it wasn't the sharp, cold gleam of a fallen star. It was something softer, something gentler. It moved with the grace of a dandelion seed caught in a summer breeze. A tiny, luminous heart beating silently by the water's edge. Leo's own heart gave a little flutter, a mix of excitement and a tiny thread of fear. The whole house was still. The rhythmic breathing of his parents down the hall. The quiet hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. It all seemed to belong to another world. This world, framed by his window, was a world of moonlight and mystery, and that soft, gentle light was an invitation he knew with a certainty that hummed in his very bones. He simply had to accept. Leo slipped out of his warm bed, his bare feet making no sound on the familiar wooden floor. The air in his room was cool, carrying the faint, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine from the trellis just outside. For a moment, he just stood there, a small silhouette against the glowing window, watching. The light pulsed again, a soft, encouraging rhythm, as if it were saying, "I am here. Come and see." He knew the rules. Stay in bed. Don't wander the house at night. And definitely don't go outside alone. The rules were like a warm, heavy blanket meant to keep him safe. But his curiosity was a persistent little flame, and tonight, fueled by the moon and the mysterious light, it felt brighter than the comfort of any blanket. He took a deep breath, the kind you take just before you leap from the high dive, and made his decision. Slowly, carefully, he turned the brass knob on his bedroom door. It made a soft click that seemed as loud as a shout in the deep, still quiet of the house. He paused, listening. He heard nothing but the same steady, sleeping sounds as before. No one had stirred. He was a little ghost, moving unseen through his own home. The moonlight was his guide. It poured through the large window at the top of the staircase, turning the dark banister into a ribbon of polished silver and laying a path of pale light down each step. He went down one stair at a time, testing each one for a creak. The house seemed to be holding its secrets close tonight. Its usual nighttime symphony hushed as if it too were listening. He passed the living room, where the furniture sat like large, sleeping animals in the gloom. He could just make out their shapes, their patterns and colors washed away into a world of silver and shadow. The grandfather clock stood tall and silent in the corner, its long pendulum still. It seemed even time was asleep. The kitchen was a space of shadows and faint, silvery reflections from the chrome faucet and countertops. Leo padded across the cool floor to the back door. He reached up, his fingers just able to grasp the lock. It turned with a small, metallic scrape. Then, the handle. He pushed the heavy door open just enough to slip through and pulled it gently shut behind him. The latch didn't catch, but it was closed enough, and then he was outside. The air was entirely different out here. It was alive. It was cool and damp against his cheeks and carried 1,000 scents. The rich, dark smell of the soil, the sweet perfume of the damp grass, and the faint, clean, mossy fragrance of the river, which lay just beyond the garden fence. He stood for a moment, letting his eyes adjust to the vast, open darkness. The sky was immense, a deep blue sprinkled with countless glittering stars. And there, hanging above it all, was the moon. It was full and perfect, so bright it seemed to have washed all the color from the world, leaving everything in breathtaking shades of silver, white and black. The little light was still there. At the bottom of the garden, just past the old wooden gate, it seemed to be waiting for him, pulsing with that same gentle rhythm. His own heart had stopped its nervous fluttering and now beat with a calm, quiet purpose. He was no longer a boy breaking the rules. He was an explorer on a secret quest. He walked through the garden, his bare feet sinking slightly into the soft, dewy grass, past his mother's rose bushes that looked like sculpted ghosts in the moonlight. He reached the wooden gate, lifted the simple latch, and with a soft, familiar sigh, he stepped out of his garden and into the magic of the moonlit night. The path to the river was a well-worn pale ribbon winding through the tall grasses. Leo followed it, his senses alive in a way they never were during the loud chaos of the day. He could hear the soft rustle of the reeds, like a long, slow exhale. He could hear the distant, lonely hoot of an owl, a question that made the silence that followed even deeper. And beneath it all, he could hear the river, a low, constant murmur, a gentle lapping of water against the muddy bank. As he drew closer, he saw that the glowing light wasn't one light, but many. It was a swirling, dancing cloud of tiny, luminous sparks hovering just above the water. They weren't fireflies. They were too soft, too ethereal. They glowed with a cool, silver light, as if they were made of moonlight itself. They swirled like a miniature galaxy, casting a gentle, shifting glow on the dark water. Leo stopped at the very edge of the bank, his toes sinking into the soft, cool mud. He looked out at the river. It was wide and dark, its surface as smooth as polished glass, broken only by the shimmering path the moon had laid across it. The entire scene was so perfectly still, so breathtakingly beautiful, that it felt like a painting. It was as if the world had paused just for this moment, so still that the dark water and the deep sky blended into one, with only the lonely, brilliant moon hanging between them. He sat down on a smooth, flat stone that was still faintly warm from the day's sun. The cloud of moon sparks danced nearby, their light pulsing in time with the gentle rhythm of the water. He watched them, mesmerized, as a profound sense of peace settled over him. The restlessness that had kept him from sleep seemed to melt away, carried off by the silent current of the river Dot. And then he heard it. It started as a feeling more than a sound, a low vibration that seemed to travel up from the stone and into his very being. Then it became a whisper, a sound as soft as the brush of a feather. It wasn't the wind, and it wasn't the water. It was something more. It was a voice that seemed to be woven from the murmur of the current, the sigh of the wind, and the silvery light of the moon itself. It was the voice of the river. Leo sat perfectly still, his eyes wide, his breath caught in his chest. He wasn't afraid. The voice was too gentle, too ancient. It was like listening to the voice of a kind and patient grandmother who had seen everything. The whispering swirled around him, and slowly the soft sounds began to form word stories meant just for him. He leaned forward, his whole being focused, ready to listen, that the voice of the river didn't come from one place, but from everywhere at once. It rose from the depths of the water, rustled in the willow leaves, and seemed to echo in the vast, starry space above. It was a voice made of 1,000 tiny sounds, all woven together. "Hello, little one," the river whispered. The words weren't just heard. They were felt like cool water flowing over a warm stone. "You are awake late. The moon is my friend, and she told me some are restless. Don't worry. Restlessness just means you're ready to learn something new." Leo didn't dare speak. He just listened, his heart filled with a quiet awe. "You see me every day." The river continued, its voice a soft, gurgling murmur. "You see my surface, my sparkle in the sun. But you've never truly listened before. To listen, you must be still, as quiet as the heron waiting for a fish, as patient as the stone that lets me flow around it. You've found that stillness tonight, and so I will share my stories with you." The river paused, and in that pause, Leo could feel the deep silence of the ages. He thought about how long the river must have been here, long before his house, long before the town, long before there were any people at all. "My memory is long," the river whispered, as if hearing his thoughts. "It is as long as my journey. I began as a single drop of water from melting snow, high in the distant mountains. I was just a trickle then, dancing over mossy rocks. That's where I learned my first lesson. Every wide river starts with a single, small drop." The moon sparks swirled faster, their light brightening as I flowed. Others joined me. Springs bubbled up, rains fell from the sky. I grew wider, stronger. I learned to be persistent. When the land placed obstacles in my way, a wall of rock, a fallen tree, I learned a better way than pushing. I learned to be patient. I learned to flow around the rock, to seep under the tree, to fall gracefully from the cliff in a shower of mist. Patience, little one, isn't about waiting. It's about moving with grace, even when the path isn't straight. Leo thought of the times he'd gotten frustrated with a puzzle or a tower of blocks. The river's words sank into his mind, cool and clear. "Flow around the problem. Find a new way. I carry memories." The river murmured, its voice growing deeper. "I carry the memory of the sun's warmth and the cold bite of winter frost. I carry the reflections of a million sunrises and a million sunsets. I carry fallen autumn leaves, each one a story of a tree letting go. I carry the songs of the birds that drink from my banks and the silent weight of the stars that gaze down on me." The river's voice was like a lullaby. It seemed to ponder as if asking an ancient question. Who by this riverside first saw the moon arise? When did the moon first see a child sitting here just like you? The river whispered, "Generations have come and passed away. From year to year, the moons look alike, but the river remembers." The river was a flowing library, a story that was always moving, yet always present. The water flowing past Leo now wasn't the same water from a moment ago, and yet it was still the same river. It was a lesson in letting go. "You see," the river whispered, "nothing is ever truly lost. It just changes. The leaf that falls into my water becomes food for tiny creatures. The water that flows from me to the great white sea will one day rise into the clouds and fall as rain on the mountains where I was born. The journey will begin all over again. It is a cycle, a promise, a dance that never ends." Leo lay back on the dewy grass, the stone a pillow beneath his head. He looked up at the vast, star-dusted sky. He felt small, but not in a scary way. He felt like he was a part of something immense and beautiful. The river's first story of time and patience and connection washed over him, and he felt the restlessness inside him finally grow still. As Leo lay there, the river's stories began to change. Its whisper shifted from the grand, slow story of time to the smaller secrets of the night. The day is for noise and hurry, the river murmured, its tone more intimate, like a shared confidence. But the night is for listening. It's when the quiet ones come out. Look there, where the shadows are deepest, under the old willow. Leo turned his head. At first, he saw only darkness, but as he truly looked, he saw a sleek, dark form slip silently into the water, leaving barely a ripple. That is the otter, the river whispered softly. Her fur is a magic coat, so tight that water can't touch her skin. She is a dancer in my currents. Her home is dug deep into my bank, a cozy burrow hidden by roots. She hunts at night, her webbed feet paddling silently as she looks for fish or a sleepy frog. She is a mother, and her pups are waiting for her. Safe and warm in the dark earth, Leo watched, breathless, as the otter's head surfaced for a moment, its dark eyes gleaming before it vanished again. He had lived by this river his whole life and had never seen an otter. The river's voice then drew his attention to the shallows, where a tall, long-legged bird stood like a statue carved from moonlight. And there, the riverside, is the heron. See his patience. He is the master of waiting. He can stand like that for what seems like forever, his sharp eyes watching the water. He knows that to hurry is to frighten his meal away. So he waits, and when the moment is right, his neck will strike like lightning. He teaches the lesson that sometimes the greatest strength is to do nothing at all, but to wait for the perfect time to act. Leo thought about his own impatience. The heron, so still and focused, was a powerful, silent teacher. The river's whispers then turned to even smaller lives. In the mud beneath your feet is a secret city of the water vole. He scurries through his tunnels day and night, shy and quick, a flicker of brown fur in the corner of your eye. And look closer at the water itself. Below the surface, dragonfly nymphs are dreaming of flight. They live in my depths for years, not yet knowing they will one day have wings of stained glass and dance in the air. Each story was a small, perfect jewel. The river spoke of the frogs, the insects, and all the lives interwoven with its currents. Leo was seeing it now, how everything was connected. The river, the reeds, the otter, the heron. It was all part of a delicate, beautiful dance of life. And the moon. The river breathed, its voice full of ancient affection. She is my oldest friend. Her gravity pulls at my waters, making my tides rise and fall in a slow, silent dance. Her light is a gift. It transforms the world. See how the flowers on the islet look like they are made of snow. She paints the world in silver and allows the secrets to come out. She is the silent companion to all the creatures of the night, and to me, Leo felt like his heart was overflowing. He was a guest in a hidden kingdom, a listener to ancient secrets. The night wasn't empty and dark. It was full and shimmering with life. For what felt like a lifetime, and also no time at all, Leo lay and listened. He heard the story of a lone fox coming for a cautious drink, its eyes glowing green in the moonlight. He heard the tale of a family of ducks huddled asleep in the reeds. But then, Leo noticed a change. A faint, pearly gray light was touching the eastern sky. The stars were fading. The moon's brilliant silver was softening to a watery white. Dawn was approaching. As the light shifted, so did the river's voice. It grew softer, more distant. The cloud of moon sparks began to dim, dissolving into the morning mist, now rising from the water. The sun is returning. The river whispered, now just an echo on the breeze. The time for secrets is ending. The world of day is about to begin. The otter has returned to her holt. The heron has flown to its nest. And the night-blooming flowers are closing their petals. A wave of sadness washed over Leo. He didn't want the magic to end, as if sensing his sorrow. The river offered one last, gentle reassurance. Don't be sad, little listener. The stories are not gone. They are always here. They are in my currents, in the mud of my banks, in the roots of the trees. They are waiting for the stillness. They are waiting for the moon. They are waiting for a curious heart. Whenever you can't sleep, whenever the world feels too loud, you can come back. I will be here. The river's voice was now almost gone, blending back into the lapping of the water. The last of the moon sparks flickered and vanished. It was as if the river was whispering a final farewell to the water flowing out to sea, saying, adieu, God, go now, it seemed to whisper. Your warm bed is waiting. Go and carry the quiet of the night with you. Go and dream my stories. And then there was only the gentle, familiar murmur of the river. The voice was gone. Leo sat up slowly. The world was now painted in soft colors, pale, pink, lavender, and yellow. The sun was rising. He felt a deep sense of peace inside him, a quiet joy as calm and steady as the river's flow. He stood up and turned to walk back home. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. He knew the river was there, and he knew its secrets were now a part of him. He slipped back into the quiet, sleeping house, climbed the stairs to his room, and slid back into bed. The sheets felt wonderfully cool and soft. As he closed his eyes, the river's whispers returned, not as words, but as a gentle, flowing lullaby in his mind, carrying him into the deepest, most peaceful sleep he had ever known. Thank you for joining us on this journey to the Moonlit River. We hope this story brought you a moment of peace and wonder. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join Yondream for more magical stories. May your dreams be as peaceful and full of wonder as the river's whisper. Good night. Good night.